could you give me some guidance into this feeling? The problem is alone. I'm kind of confused and it doesn't really work, you know. I don't come to know what I want or what wants to be done.
How would you know if it works or not?
Sorry?
How do you know if it works or not?
Yeah, if I feel a clear impulse what to do, then that's the sign that it works,
Well, that's not really the sign it works, that's the judgment that you've made up of what works and what doesn't. That's simply your barrier or your line of what you say works or doesn't work.
Oh, okay, so what's the sign then?
What's the sign that something works and doesn't work? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Well, life isn't really like that. You can say a key works in a lock, you could say that a dam works or a house works, but when it comes to these sorts of things, it's not like that. You've simply set up a goal of what works, and then you feel like you fail when you don't. But you've made up the goal in the first place.
Isn't the purpose of the deep feeling to kind of resolve the pain, the fear, the separation?
Not really. That's your interpretation of it. That's what you want. That's not really the goal.
That's why.
Like, the goal is irrelevant. What's important is the exploration.
The exploration itself.
Yeah, because in a way you could say it's arrogance to have a goal. Like,
yeah.
This is life. This is life producing itself. And there is this blockage which is rejecting life. And so then life is exploring that. But it's exploring it innocently. It just explores it, and it uses the separate individual to explore it. But that separate individual has all these ideas and goals of where it wants to get to, but it's set up all those ideas and goals. That dynamic of setting up the idea and goal is what creates the separation in the first place.
Yeah. So you do it purposeless then?
Well, if you have a purpose, then just be aware of it. I mean, if a purpose comes up, don't try and deny it, but just be aware of it. Hey, my beauty. She wants to go for a walk.
Why doing... Yeah.
If a purpose comes up, then just be aware that there is the thought process is producing a purpose. It doesn't actually mean anything. It doesn't mean that you have a purpose. It doesn't mean going somewhere. Easy, stop it. Just give me 10 more minutes.
Why exploring then at all? Yeah. Why?
But the thing is you're living in a timeline of yourself. So that's what I'm trying to break down. So why exploring at all? Like, you're looking at it like you are this separate entity that's going to get somewhere. You see, these are all thoughts.
Yeah.
The thought about destination, the thought about getting somewhere, the thought about freeing yourself. They're not a reality. But we think of it like that. We think, I'm going to free myself within the next year. And we set up all these expectations. But really, all we ever have is this moment. And this moment is where love is. This moment is where home is. And if there's a blockage in this moment that's uncomfortable, then that discomfort can be explored. What we do as a separate person is we imagine another moment being better than this moment, and that we'll finally get out of this moment. But you can never get out of this moment. This moment is you. This moment is home. This moment is that energy.
So exploration takes place if you lose home, so to speak, or if you don't feel home at home, purposeless.
Sorry, say that again?
Exploration takes place purposeless if there is no feeling of being at home. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I get confused by your question. Just say it one more time.
So if there's no separate self who explores anything or has no purpose, then the exploration just takes place purposeless if the feeling of being at home is not there.
That's so long, that sentence. I'm sorry, I just can't seem to understand it.
Okay. But you said you don't explore from the state of a separate self.
Huh? Sorry? That I don't explore from a separate self.
Yeah, it's not exploration from the state of a separate self, isn't it? Didn't you say so?
I don't know what I said. I don't really listen, I just speak. I can feel your heady energy, it makes me dizzy. Don't try to work it out. What have you got left if you don't try and work it out?
A feeling only.
What is the feeling?
A perception. Was that the question?
It's a beautiful answer. Just perception. It's just a happening. It's not really a feeling though, perception. Feeling is more like discomfort, happiness. Perception is just something that always happens. Perceiving is always happening. We say we're the perceiver, I am the perceiver. But there's not really somebody there that perceives. There is emptiness experiencing itself as movement.
I feel tension.
Yeah?
There's a perception of tension.
Where do you feel the tension?
In the feet,
Mm.
lower body,
Yeah.
legs, neck.
Yeah. Do you want the tension to go away?
Surprisingly, no.
The reason you're tense is because your whole life you've been trying to be something that you're not. You've been living a lie. So just let that come into consciousness, that tension. Normally the tension is kind of unconscious, we cut it off. Just let everything come. Everything's welcome. It just comes in. Every feeling, every sensation, every sound. That's total compassion and love. Just to let it all in. Every last bit. The sound of my voice. The sights. The vulnerability. The humility. The tense feet. The bum on the seat. There it is. That's how you know yourself, by appearances. And this is God's of creation, so everywhere you look is the divine. Don't try and find the divine. It's there when you don't try. It is the nature of all things. When you try and find the divine, you're looking in the next moment, you're looking in the next thing.
If you guide the feeling, this perceiving, it's very relaxing, but when I do it on my own, it's not so relaxing. You know?
That thought's just kind of irrelevant. It just kind of comes up and puts you down. It's just like a negativity that comes in. So you've now told yourself that you're incapable of doing this when I'm not here. So that becomes your reality. This is what we're always living in. And often most people's sense of self is very negative because we come from a society that's very negative. And because separation always implies that you've lost something, so there's always a tendency towards lack.
I think the thought that on my own I can't feel that that intense as I can feel with you comes from experience. So it's the experience that I can't feel it.
But you'd only have that thought coming up if you felt lack. If you didn't feel lack now, if you didn't feel not enough, you wouldn't have that thought coming up. You could be saying, wow, this is amazing, this is so beautiful, but instead you tell the story that when I'm not here, you don't feel it. But if I was a greedy guru, then I'd be saying, yes, yes, it's my presence which gives it to you. You're perfect, you're divine, you are the divine. You keep looking outside of yourself and telling yourself and convincing yourself that it's outside of you.
Oh, okay. So it's the thought that creates the feeling, you say.
Well, I don't know what way it's round.
The thought that I am not good enough or not complete creates that I can't feel alone on my own. That into that relaxed state in which I am now while you guide me.
Wow, you say incredibly long sentences.
Sorry.
What are you trying to get out of that statement? What position are you trying to push me in? What are you trying to convince me of?
Actually, I just wanted to ask. It was just a question. No try to convince you.
Convince you. Well, actually, that's not true, because in everything that we do, we're always trying to be something, but you're just not conscious of it. So what were you trying to be in that question?
I'm trying to be in that question.
Weak, vulnerable, victim? Not enough? Lackful? Superior? Pride?
Not enough, maybe.
Not enough. This is what we do most of the time. Most of our interactions are about that. There's always got to be an exploration of what's happening. So where that feeling comes from. And you see this tension in the body and you feel not enough, so then you begin to think, or it might be the thoughts that come first, we don't know, the chicken or the egg. The thoughts arise that when I'm not here, you won't feel so peaceful. But why do you think it wasn't that the thoughts arose of, wow, this is wonderful, the rest of my life's going to be like this? Normally because there's identification with being a victim and being a problem, being something wrong with us. Constant exploration. You know, what consciously comes up for the person is normally always about seeking and getting and maintaining a position. What can you be? What do you want to be? Does Sebastian want to be a victim? It's nobody's fault. You've not done anything bad or wrong. That's not at all what I'm implying. You're absolutely divine appearing. But the separate self is always trying to take a position, even when it seeks. And it's the job of the speaker to always be pointing out the illusion. Who you are is that clear, empty space which knows this whole game, which never moves, which is always still, and in that plays this person, and this person is always seeking to maintain itself, to be something. Better, worse than, greater than, lower than, victim, perpetrator.
it's enough to just know who you are. Or feel who you are.
I don't understand what that means. It's enough to just know what you are or who you are.
To end the search, that the search is ended.
It's just not a valid thought process. You're always wanting to try to get something or get a new thought process. This is a deconstruction, not a getting. This is loss, loss, loss. You lose, lose, lose. Not getting. So you're trying to keep putting it into the positive, so I keep trying to reject it. If you're putting it into positive, I mean like, so that is enough. But no thoughts are it. Thoughts come and go, so what else is there? Feelings come and go. So you're trying to wrap up the spiritual process. You keep trying to make definite statements, this will get rid of it, or this is the way, or this works. But that's not it. That person isn't going to get somewhere. That person doesn't exist. Who you truly are is this awakeness, this stillness that always is. When you're really suffering, and you're tight and contracted, and you feel like you're a separate person, explore the sensations, explore what's happening. Listen to non-duality. But it's not that person that wakes up because it doesn't exist. So it's also not a thought that wakes up. So it's not this way or that way. This isn't the way, that's not the way. Isn't this path or that path? It is as it is. No thoughts are true. So to try to wrap it up in a thought is just trying again to capture water in a net. It will never work, and you'll always feel frustrated. It's letting go of everything that you know and believe. Who you truly are is that mysterious awakeness that just is, that's everywhere, creating. And in that all answers lie. The illusion is the one that's moving in time, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It's so beautiful, Sebastian, you call, because I can feel that you have a tendency towards insecurity. So it's nice that this dynamic's calling up, and you're exposing yourself. And I'm a brute. I'm not like a soft. Mostly what we like of women teachers is a soft, motherly figure. And I can be soft and I can be motherly, but I can also be quite brutish in the way that I phrase things. So I'm not so stroking and. Like, I'm thinking of Gangaji particularly at the moment, that's very softly spoken. And I can get out my machine gun and be quite tough. So I really respect that you're in it, that energy is calling in and prepared to be this open. In a way, that openness is the love that I talk about, that sense of giving, that total openness to what's actually happening. Even if it's the ego keeps coming in and that contraction keeps coming in, there's something else that's so open and ready.
It feels like you cut off all further thoughts.
It's you, but I'm happy to take the praise. I'm happy to have the joy of the praise. But it's you. There isn't really two people here. It's you as that wholeness, as that freedom. Okay, I really need to go because I need to walk Khaleesi before it gets too dark. It's beginning to get dark here. So I have to end it now. But it was lovely to speak with you again, Sebastian. I enjoyed that.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much for your openness. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
So guys, I have to end it now because It's beginning to get darker outside, and I have to take Khaleesi for a good 45 minutes, so I don't want it to be too dark when I finish. So thank you so much for anyone that asks a question, and if I've been really brutal to you, see it as a blessing. Don't see it as a negative thing or feel insecure about it. But I will forget. I won't remember the next time I speak to you if I've been brutal. But just see it as clearing away of illusion, and I need to work off the energy that's here. So if there's fire that comes, that's the passion to be able to express it. And I'm so comfortable expressing it, and I'm so comfortable with being quite firm when I say things. I don't feel like I don't have any issues around that. It just comes out. It's just getting expressed. And just see it as a gift rather than, oh, she doesn't like me, or she doesn't love me, or da 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 da. I know how the stories go. Love you very much. Bye.